let's go back to Conor and Aldo. Why do you think that that's a fight for him? That like that's the fight he needs to take.
Okay, so let's get this straight. I don't think it's the fight that he needs to take, but if it happens, I'm all for it.
No, for sure. If it happens, I'm excited.
I'll explain why. So, for me, that was the beginning of the end of Jose's reign, right?
Yeah.
And what a way to get knocked off your throne than to get sauced like that, right?
Yeah.
But I mean, let's get this really straight and clear. I think there's a lot of times where stuff like this happens, like for example, the Yair Rodriguez elbow, right, versus Korean Zombie.
Which was fucking ridiculous.
Or some people might even argue like DC versus Stipe, where there's Anthony Pettis versus Wonderboy, where there's this knockout, right? This emphatic knockout, which clearly won the fight, and wasn't really necessarily lucky. You know, it was game planned and executed flawlessly, right? But it comes to one person's mind, like what would happen if these two people did it again? For example, nothing to take away from Anthony Pettis. It's Showtime Anthony Pettis, for crying out loud. It's not like this was an unexpected thing, that he would win by Superman hook, you know, like...
Oh, against Wonderboy.
Yeah. But let's just be real here. Wonderboy was
winning the fight. Yeah, for sure. He was winning that fight in my eyes.
So what happens if they fight again, right? That's the kind of thing. That's what I'm getting at here, is Conor knew that he was in his head. He had studied him religiously.
Right.
And... I mean, when you put this into consideration and then you go back and watch the fight, it makes perfect sense that Conor almost knew exactly what was going to happen. In fact, he had stated it.
He did.
Right?
Yeah, he did.
Mystic Mac, he knew it was coming. So he knew all he had to do was get out there and bait him a little bit.
But
just get out there, dance, and wait for him to come in and he hit him with what he said he was going to hit him with, right?
Right.
What happens when you take that out of the picture now? Jose knows what to expect.
Mm-hmm.
Right, he's probably not going to let him get under his skin that much, and he knows that Conor is waiting for him to make that mistake, right? So now that we have a more, and I don't want to use this word, but it's the only word I can think of, but I don't mean it that way. Now that we have a more fair fight, what does this fight look like?
But it doesn't have the same meaning as it did back 3 years ago?
No, it doesn't. But it's Conor McGregor, right? And Conor is like the king of bringing casuals in, right?
Right.
And for the super casuals, right? They might, if they don't know who Jose Aldo is, they know who he is because, it's that guy that Conor knocked out in 13 seconds, right? It's somewhat compelling, even to casuals. And if it's somewhat compelling, even to casuals.
Is it really, though?
It is.
Are casuals really excited for Jose Aldo right now?
They're not excited for Jose Aldo.
They're excited
to
for
watch
Conor.
Conor. Yeah.
That's what I'm
saying. And if they know who Conor's fighting, it makes it a little bit better, right? It's not just Conor's fighting whoever. They'll know who Conor's fighting.
For me, I just feel like there's other fights for Conor that will get me to jump out of my seat than him against Aldo.
Like?
Him against Cowboy. Him against Ferguson. Maybe him against Holloway. That will really make me jump out of my seat.
Of course.
Right? There's 3 fights that I just gave you. I'll give you a 4th one, him and Nate.
Okay.
That's 4 fights.
But earlier you said that you didn't like the Jose fight because it didn't do anything for him for the title.
Correct.
So why is Nate different?
So I gave you one exception.
Okay.
Because those two really have history.
They do.
They have 2 close fights, very close fights.
They do.
And we've been waiting for a trilogy for a while.
Okay.
After that Jose Aldo fight, right, you had 3 years to make a rematch happen. It didn't happen. I feel like that ship has sailed already.
Okay.
And I don't think Jose Aldo is the same fighter as he was 3 years ago.
Okay.
I don't think that.
But none of us know what he looks at lightweight either.
Obviously Conor's going to be the bigger man.
Yeah.
And what is his record at 155 for Jose Aldo? Has he fought at 155?
I don't think so. Could be. Let's look it up.
Is he at a disadvantage because Conor's naturally going to be bigger and he's already fought in that division?
Well, how much more of a disadvantage would he be at than when they were at featherweight?
Well, we know Conor's not fighting in featherweight, so
right.
I don't know.
There's people that already know the answer to this that are just
for sure
shaking their heads right now.
The few viewers that we'll have for the first episode. Actually, maybe some of our friends are probably
Jose
thinking,
has fought at lightweight in 2005.
Oh, a long.
And he lost versus Luciano Azevedo.
I don't know who that guy is.
Nobody
Sorry.
does. And he lost via rear naked choke. So, yep.
Interesting.
Jose Aldo is 0-1 at lightweight.
Okay. Well,
Interesting.
I mean, I'm gonna stick by my stance. If the fight happens,
Mhm.
I will be a bit disappointed,
'Kay.
but I'm gonna still watch it.
Okay, of
There's
course.
no question.
Oh,
I'm gonna
yeah, of
still
course.
watch it. Fucking the Mystic Mac is back. I'm gonna be excited to finally see Conor come
We're
back.
marketing majors, though. How easy is it to market Conor versus Jose 2? I mean, imagine the posters. I mean, it just got a ring to it.
I'm speaking strictly as an MMA fan.
Mm-hmm.
I just feel like there are 4 other fights I'd rather pick out first before that Jose Aldo fight.
Okay.
As an MMA junkie, right? And I feel like all other junkies
Shout
may
out to
agree.
MMA Junkie.
Right? Would you agree those 4 fights intrigue you more than him and Jose Aldo?
I would rather
At
watch him
this
fight.
point in their
Ooh.
careers. Would you rather see Conor fight Jose Aldo or Conor fight Nate Diaz 3? Because Nate Diaz is coming back, and he already has a huge fucking following. People love Nate Diaz. People love the Diaz brothers, eh? Fuck them Diaz brothers, eh?
Well, there's a couple of things here.
By the way, that wasn't a shot at them. I'm just repeating what Conor said.
Nate hasn't fought in a while, so we don't know what that's like. But now he's concentrating on welterweight, right? So maybe
Yeah.
Who knows? We really don't know what Nate's gonna look like, but we'll find out on August 17th.
We're going to find out when we see him live.
As opposed to Jose, who we've seen fight recently.
Right.
You know,
What was his last fight against?
Volkanovski.
And
He lost.
Okay. I don't know. For
He
those that
looked
are wondering,
real good, though. He looked real good though versus Hanato Moicano and Jeremy
He did.
Stevens.
He
Two
did.
really tough guys.
that Jeremy Stevens fight, I think he hit him in the groin.
no, he
hit him in the stomach,
It was
I
a
think?
liver shot.
Liver
Yeah.
shot. My goodness.
Oh
He
man.
landed it right on the fucking numbers.
Oh, yeah.
Put him on the ground.
Yep,
He looked great there.
he did.
To circle back on why we're talking about Jose Aldo and Conor, there was an article we saw. He showed it to me this morning, so I will link that in the description in case you guys want to read it. But that's where the conversation originally started from.
Right.
I don't know. I'm not trying to hate on Jose Aldo. I'm not a hater. I like Jose Aldo. I think he's a good fighter. No disrespect to him. I'm just speaking strictly as a Conor fan and someone that wants to see him back. There's a couple other fights I'd rather see him come back than him against Jose Aldo.
Yep.
Like I said before, I want to see Conor come back and be a champ again. I
Right.
think that'd be exciting for the sport.
Mm-hmm.
He'll come in here talking shit, talking trash, sell the fights, bring a whole bunch of casual people to watch MMA. Because, there's a ton of people out there that are just starting to watch MMA like myself. And everyone knows Conor. And I think with Conor, you have to give him a fight that will intrigue not only him, but a lot of people. Anyone he fights is going to sell. I mean, there's no question about it. I just feel like he's in a division that there's a lot of mystery right now, right? Because everything's weighing on this championship fight with Khabib and Poirier. And once that fight happens, then we'll see a lot of moves happening. And I think right now Conor is going to wait to see what happens in the lightweight division. I don't think he's going to take the Jose Aldo fight. I think he'd rather take the Jorge Masvidal fight than Jose Aldo, to be honest.
Interesting.
I think so.
That'd be a fun fight.
Fucking terrific fight. Terrific fight. At 170?
Mm-hmm.
Come on, bro.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. We'll see what happens, but I hope Conor comes back. I originally said that I thought he was done, but after Dana's comments and what he said post-fight interview on UFC 240, we may see him back early to 2020. So we'll see what happens.